Okay. Yeah. But so we were talking about colonization, but I never thought about decolonization.
Yeah.
So he was telling me basically like if they were to pull out too fast, everything would collapse, and that's where all that economic collapse comes from. When other countries and nations are basically like, all right, we don't want you here, force them out, and then it happens too quickly.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why Drew Ali said, I'm going to keep the Europeans here long enough for you to know how to run government. Because if they leave, our people still in the projects, they don't know nothing about the projects.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of them.
Yeah. But like I was looking at all, it was weird because I went on this whole path of research and I was like, damn near the whole world has been colonized by Europeans. Yeah. And the countries that were decolonized is like they're made to look like they're third world poor countries that aren't doing well, when it's really like if you look at like nations in Africa, they're doing a lot better than us because at least they have their own, at least and it's so funny because the guy that I was talking to, he's from Africa, and he was like,
what part?
Liberia. He was saying basically like all these political powers and stuff, you see them starting to put females in charge, like going back to their natural state, and and those places are starting to have more peace, even though their economics is not, up to European standard. And then he said a lot of that has to do with them, like Europeans not wanting to do business with them. Yeah. Like they're basically blacklisting them because they don't want to be colonized.
And that's fine, because Drew Ali said the wheels of the industry are going to come to the halt, and then it's going to start up, in Asiatics' favor. Or Europeans won't be able to do business unless it's through us anyway. So like right now, with the Pope is a vicar, which means a substitute. He's a substitute pharaoh, or a substitute sultan. So it used to be the matriarch where a woman would, all right, you're going to be the pharaoh. You know what I mean? Woman would put the crown on the king. And then Europeans had to flip it on its head, remove the woman from her rightful place, mother, father, son, and just make it Father, Son, Holy Ghost. And now they're just running shit. Yeah. So it makes sense that in Africa they have more women running stuff, because that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah. It was just, it was really eye-opening, because then when I just started going through every nation, it's like Europeanize. So crazy. And then the countries that were like, oh, they look crazy, like they're always about to bomb us and stuff, it's like you realize that they have not been colonized. Yeah. So they're literally like, don't you dare come over here, because we would rather like destroy everything than to live under your thumb. Yeah.
And what's interesting, it's interesting because, I mean, I know why, but we're taught to say we as in like the Americans, and then call Europeans Americans and put us together. Yeah. And we're different people. So when we say, like when our people say, oh, we're over and somewhere else, well, no, not really.
Yeah, the Europeans are.
Yeah, the Europeans are, but they're using, like they've always done, they've always used the Moriscos, the Morenos, the Conversos, the people, Moors who think that they're Christian, to fight other people. Yeah. It's always been like that. They never did anything else. Yeah. So we are over there, but we're not calling the shots.
Yeah, they're politically over there. We're just physically over there.
Exactly. And when in last week's class, when I was reading about Egypt and how Egyptian mystery system is Islam, it was the same thing. Remember I was talking about the political control? Right now, the Christians are controlling shit. All stuff. But it should be us, you know what I mean? That's literally what's happening all across the world.
Yesterday I was reading, Are You Confused About Your Nationality? And in the first 12 pages, I don't know where it is, but they were saying that the United States Corporation has always been trying to get into Jerusalem. Yeah. And if you look at the whole presidency now, they're trying to put an embassy there. Yeah. And
oh my God.
And it's like, how long ago was this material written? Yeah. And here they're still trying to put, why are we going over there?
and they're trying to control the trade routes. It's always been about the trade.
But it was just like a wow moment because I'm reading this thing that was written, you know, I don't know how long ago, and it's like I'm literally at the laundromat reading this and then looking up at the news. You know, the president and the UN are trying to.
That speech that she did. The U.S. is going to remember you guys who voted against us.
Yeah, I was like, how childish do we look?
Yeah, but
now I have to learn to detach myself
because we're not.
Because that's not my government.
They're just occupying our stuff. But when you do the research of that area, you know, the holy city, we've always been fighting for that area. Always.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when we did the video last week, Sumer, Mari, those were the trade routes. Like literally, I went across from what they call Middle East right now. Went across to Carthage, and then Al-Andalus. That's the trade routes from Asia Major to Asia Minor.
Insane.
Literally.
Insane.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we're like here in America, we're made to believe that that we don't care about that land.
Yeah.
That we kind of just like, oh, look at them fighting over there.
And they try to use
the United States is in that fight.
Yeah.
But then they turn around and make us feel like, oh, we're just going over there to help, politically.
Yeah, and then they say spread democracy. And I talk about this in my book. They don't talk about spreading Christianity and the Inquisition anymore. They don't use Inquisitioner generals. They use military generals.
Now they say that religion is freedom, it's your choice.
Yeah, but that's a game.
They can't pull with that anymore.
Yeah, but remember, Trump, he still says, I'm a proud Christian, I'm a good Christian, and they're spreading democracy. We already went to what the difference of a republic and a democracy is. So it's still the Inquisition, they just renamed it.
Yeah.
You know, and then if you do the research, Isabella and Ferdinand were known for creating the Inquisition to a bureaucratic form. And then with the 14th Amendment, they institutionalized peonage, or what we call slavery. So it just evolved, and it just evolved up to what we have now, the democracy. Well, not we, but what the Europeans are perpetrating against the world.
It's so crazy.
And then you can look up this thing. It happened in Asia. I can't remember exactly where. I think it was Vietnam. The Burning Monk.
I don't know.
It was when the United States was fighting using the South Vietnamese people to fight the North, and the North was combating South. And the North didn't want Christianity. They didn't want Christianity in that whole democracy bullshit. So to show how strong the people were, this was in 1945, I believe. If you look up Burning Monk, this guy burned himself in the middle of the street in his monk garb. Burned himself, sat there in like meditation stance. Damn, you just put that light all on my face.
Is that too much?
Nah, it's fine. Burning Monk. Oh, look, it just pops up. All right. So this was in 1963. He was a Buddhist monk, and there's pictures. He's sitting there meditating on fire, and they say he didn't like make a peep. You know what I mean? And it was to kind of show like how resilient the Asians were against European conquest. Like that's how much they care about their faith and their people. Like, you think we fear you? Watch me sit here and burn myself alive. Literally and now Christianity ain't in that area.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
like that's how resilient other Asiatics are, and we're just we want to be rappers and drug dealers.
Yeah. And football players and basketball players, and it's like the.
But it's not. It's like some of it is our fault because we buy into it. You know what I mean? And that's the truth. Like, we have to start taking responsibility. But the other half is the Europeans, they are using mental warfare, like, straight up. Like, there's a show, Gravity Falls. It's a cartoon, a children's cartoon. The guy, one of the main characters, he's wearing a fez.
Yeah.
And then there's the crescent, and the Sphinx head, like, all in the show, and then there's the ancient Olmec head in the cartoon, like, under the desk. And then it's called the Mystery Shack Lodge, Mystery Lodge. And then the ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the Mystic Shrine. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So they straight up using mental warfare.
Message. Yeah.
And then even with like the music that they're pushing on the radio, and then the images of our people on TV. Like, the mind is a creature of habit. And you have the ability to reprogram it or to put whatever you want into it. But if you're not conscious of what's going on, then you're being controlled.
If you don't know that at all, if you don't,
and it's sad.
Yeah.
But you know,
it really is.
But Drew Ali came in and he
gave us everything.
Yeah, he gave us everything. It's just our people sold out. Like that's one thing I don't get. Like I was reading the FBI files, and there was names like crossed out, and I'm like,
yeah, for what?
I just want to know what those names are like.
Yeah.
You're. Why would you do? I don't get it. Why would you sell your own people? I don't get it. Like for what?
And it's crazy because it's like this land is yours.
That's what I'm saying.
And he was making it happen. He was giving it back to you.
Yeah. And what happened? I don't know. Like, cause in the FBI files, it said the person was an informant, but as I was reading it, it sounded like. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to try to like act like I'm naive or play devil's advocate, but it sounded like they were asking questions and he was just answering them. But that's still being an informant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if the police had me, I'm not gonna tell them like, oh yeah, I do this. Like they're enemies.
Yeah, yeah.
You know
it's like if the police came to you and say, okay, how many bags of rice does your family have in your house?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a simple question,
just like those
but it's
phone
none of your
calls.
business.
Just like those phone calls, they call you to say, oh, we're doing a national survey. How many children you have in your house? I'm like, that's weird. Hang up.
Yeah. Like
why do you need to know how many children are in this house?
Yeah, yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah.
I'm doing a national survey. Like, why are you calling me? Like that's weird. You know what I mean? And our people, we gotta look into stuff like that. Like, why are they calling us? Asking these
why
questions.
do you need to know how many people
are in my house?
This house?
Yeah.
Because when's the last time you did anything to help any other people in this house?
Yeah.
So there's no reason we should be having this conversation.
Yeah. That's weird. Like, why are you asking that?
Yeah.
Oh, we're doing a national survey? Why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff going on. Like even like as I watch like different lectures of different people and stuff like that and read more, I realize I don't know shit. You know what I mean? Like there's so much going on. It's crazy. Like I was just talking to this woman. She told me about the RH gene. And it's if you're RH negative, you reject the hybrid monkey gene. You get what I'm saying? So like nature's literally outbreeding the Europeans. And this was an Asiatic woman. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying?
That makes sense. That
because
really
nature,
does make sense.
nature herself is rejecting the hybrid. Yeah. So what the Europeans do, they inject our women with this thing that makes you RH positive. Oh, so it doesn't kill the mutated gene.
That's why I'm like, all these crazy vaccinations.
Yeah, they're trying to keep themselves alive.
When I was younger, we used to go to the doctor and it's like, okay, you got to get these vaccinations and you make your appointment and you go to them. Now they're so desperate, they're coming down to the schools.
Yep.
Sending your kids home with a piece of paper that they don't even know if you signed or not. They can't confirm it. You're not present.
Yeah.
Oh, but we're going to give your daughters these shots in school.
It's called the... Let's see. Is this one camera?
I mean, I'll fix it.
So they'll do it like this. And this, hold on. So this gene, I'll just Google it and read it to you. Because it's very interesting once you read it. Because she was explaining it to me, and she was like, oh yeah, since I was RH negative, they made me RH positive so my body doesn't reject my baby. And you know, logically a woman would be like, yeah, I'm not going to reject my own baby. But
why would your body reject your baby? That's nature.
Exactly.
We've been having babies for thousands of years.
I know, but they use our people's, ignorance and naivety to fool them. But let me see right here. Because there's some type of antigens. They're called antigens. So if you're RH positive, you have antigens. Make sure I'm spelling it right. But you can just Google this. Let me see, where is it? I lost it. I just seen it. Let's see.
Any more?
Anti-genes. Isn't that incredible?
Wow.
Now, if your body has this, your immune system will attack it. Your antibodies will attack this.
What?
Yeah. So when our women are naturally Rh negative, because remember Yakub's experiment, we created the Europeans by grafting them from monkey genes and other plants and stuff like that. And this is a monkey. So, and this is like a scripture in the Bible says, you know, something like, I'm paraphrasing, but the sun will rise with healing in its wings and it will cleanse the earth. Mm-hmm. And guess whose skin is, quote unquote, allergic to the sun? and then like, actually, I'll show you this real quick. Because there was this dissertation that this woman wrote to get her master's degree. Uh-huh. And she was quoting other European scholars admitting to be hybrids.
Wow.
Yeah. Because you got to remember,
Does that help any?
they're from the troglodyte nigger. This is a cave dweller. That means pale. The pale monkey. Right? And if you look up the word Neanderthal, it means new man. Mm-hmm. Just look it up on eddymononline.com. But anyway, so this is from a thesis submitted to the facility of the Graduate School of Arts and Science of Georgetown University and partial fulfillment in the requirements for the degree of Master of Arts in English by Kimberly Philman. I'm going to spell that out. Kimberly Phil. Oh man. Right, this is from Kimberly Philman Clark. Right? So this is her thesis submitted to the Graduate School of Arts and Science of Georgetown University in partial fulfillment of the requirements for the degree of Master in Arts by Kimberly Philman Clark, B.A., Washington, D.C., September 21st, 2009. And one of the quotes that I got from it is, in 1863, German anatomist Karl Vogt urges that Anglo-Saxon is itself a mongrel race. A mongrel means mixed breed, right? Uh-huh. Yep. Another quote, the London Review states that in 1861, we Englishmen may be proud of the results to which a mongrel breed and hybrid race have led us. So they're proud that they know that they're mixed and they're able to keep up with the original gods of the earth. Us. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Another quote, Herbert Spencer writes in his Principles of Sociology that Britain was an example of race amalgamation. Now we already know that there's one race and it's human. So if you're mixed with different races, you must be mixed with something other than human. You see? Another quote. Arthur Keith writes, it is often said that we British are a mixed and mongrel collection of types and breeds. So different types of plants, different types of monkeys, and of course, the woman, the human woman. And then another quote, English Aborigine, we are really all foreigners ourselves. They have no home. Yeah. And now if you do the research, we grafted them in the Yucatan area. And you know in the Bible it talks about how they're getting leprosy because their skin can't handle the sun like ours can. Yeah. So we had to send them to what we call Europe today because the climate was better for their skin. Mm-hmm. This is why when Drew Ali said when they go home the climate's going to change again because nature had to acclimate to them coming here. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to come here, of course nature's going to take care of you. This is why we're suffering from winter over in the Northeast.
It's so funny. I get so mad because
you know what I mean.
When I see all these Europeans and they coming in from the snow and they're, oh, it's so cold. Yeah. I'm like, that's your weather.
And then another quote. At best, we, talking about English, are but hybrids. And this is from John Crawford, 1861. And I kind of want to show this right here. I'm not sure if the camera can catch that. Because I attached images to it too. Zoom in. Hold on, let me see. I'll just bring it closer. these chords. What am I doing? I should know what I was doing. All right, you see that?
A little bit of a glare. Yeah. Mhm.
Now here's a shaved chimpanzee. See that?
That's crazy.
And we know our people aren't a cave dwelling people. And then I put more in. Look. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And like this is just genetic facts. And it's talked about in the Bible. And I'll just give some of the scripture that I have written down. But those quotes were from this European Kimberly and her thesis to get a master's degree. Meaning they know this.
Yeah.
Right? So you can read, let me see. Oh yeah, let me break down Neanderthal. So Neanderthal is an adjective. It's a German word. And it literally means new man. Greco-Neo-Ander. That's what Neanderthal is. So you can read Genesis 30, chapter 30, verse 40. It's also talked about in Ancient and Modern Britons by David McRitchie. He talks about the mixed people of because we're the original Britons. But he talks about the Europeans being there too. And you can also read Genesis chapter 25, verses 23 to 33. And that talks about when Jacob was getting the darker skinned cattle, and he was breeding them with the other darker skinned, and he was getting rid of the fair skinned ones.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what that's about in the Bible. So the Europeans, they know that they're not humans. Well, they are humans, but they know that they're from amalgamation, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But they know it. You see, but they call us the nigger, and they just trade places with us.
Yeah.
That's why in the law dictionary it says Europeans more or less intermixed. They have to be mixed with Moor's blood to be gods of the earth.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Our people need to know that and not use that, as a negative thing to talk crap about Europeans. But like the Bible says, our people suffer for the lack of knowledge. So every time we call each other nigger, we're calling each other monkeys. When the Europeans are the real nigger, and they know it. So, and just thinking about that, right? That's why they're not white people.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? Because it's.
Now that I know that white is a social status, I was just like, that changed everything for me. Because I'm like, just like I've always felt like black is not a race.
Because it is.
Neither is white.
Yeah, no, it's not.
So everything makes sense now.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? I'll share a little personal story.
Not
like the whole ghetto thing, but I mean, she grew up in poverty.
That's like,
yeah,
I never act like a quote unquote black person.
Yeah, and when we say black, we're not talking about like
a color
or just the way you speak. There's certain things associated with the word black. Like, yeah, you're black.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Like the fact that you turn your mind off to learning.
That's what we mean by black.
Not
not like where you grew up or what you look like.
Mentality. Black mentality.
And now, since we're talking about white and black, I already know if someone's not hip to the knowledge, let's go into what white is. Right? Because this whole thing is really interesting. Like once I realized, like once it fully clicked that, oh shit, it is a social status, then it started making more sense that my grandmother always brought up that story, like, oh, remember when you thought I was black? I was like, yeah.
That's why it's called Black Problems.
All right, where is it? Free white person, right? So this is from Black's Law Dictionary. And a lot of our people will say, oh, you're using the white man's dictionary. Well, if we're using the white man's dictionary, they admit it does not mean Caucasian race, Aryan race, or Indo-European races. So they're not even white people. And it'll say, it includes all European Jews more or less intermixed with peoples of Celtic, Scandinavian, Teutonic, Iberian, Latin, Greek, and Slavic descent. It includes Magyars, Lapps, and Finns, and the Basques, and Albanians, including the mixed Latin, Celtic, Iberian, and Moorish inhabitants of Spain. So if you got pale skin, you have to be mixed. You have to be traced back to Moorish blood. Yeah. To even be considered white. Because again, it does not mean Caucasian race, Aryan race, or Indo-European races. And then again, in the beginning, free white persons referred to in a Naturalization Act as amendment by Act July 14th, 1870. That's when, after they overthrew our government in 1861, the Whig Amor Party started calling themselves white.
Yeah.
To take on the social status. That's why Drew Ali said white is purity, purity means God, God means rule of the land. This ain't their land. We're the white people. You get what I'm saying? And then our people, since, again, Tower of Babel, they don't know the etymology. They can't separate the wheat from the chaff. They can't tell that we're not talking about skin tone, we're talking about social status, because they turn their brains off.
Yeah.
Because they've been taught to turn their brains off, and what they're eating turns their brains off. That's what they call the calcifying of the pineal gland. And then the logos is reasoning mind. You see what I'm saying? Like it's all laid out.
So if you calcify that pineal gland, how is it supposed to secrete that oil?
Exactly. Anoint my head with oil. You get what I'm saying?
It all makes sense.
And it sucks because, like, Drew Ali just gave it to the people. You know what I mean? Just to save his people. And then we got sellouts. Like, why?
Yeah.
So it's just like this thing where it's like there's a cycle going on.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, like within myself, I should say, there's like the cycle where I'm trying to figure out like why they sell out their people. But to me, that's wasting energy in my brain, where I should be just talking about it, and you know what I mean?
It's because they want immediate reward.
But
because it's like, even for me,
but nothing in nature is immediate.
How many times have we had this conversation that we might not be the generation or in our lifetime to reap the benefit of the work that we're doing or that other people are doing?
But that's fine. Want to know why?
We're gonna come back anyway.
Yes.
We're gonna come. But you know, some people in their greed, they can't wait.
But nothing in nature is like that.
Yeah.
Like, again, I'll use the strawberries thing. When I first started learning farming, I worked on this farm. I picked up a strawberry from the ground, ate it. I was like my analogy was I felt like God made love to me. But I know I'm God. I know God's within. But if I could express it the way I can, like God made love to me in my mouth. you know what I mean? Like that's how much love I got from that food. So I was like, damn, I can't wait to grow my own. And I've been thinking about growing strawberries for like that since that point on to when I grew it. You know what I mean? But I put the seed in the ground. I was like, damn, I really want these fucking strawberries. But I had to wait. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's it. We just have to wait. Like we got to do the work now, and then we'll sow it later.
It's literally greed.
Yeah, but if you do it now, like your son won't have to do it, your daughter won't have to do it. Like it's why can't we think like that? Like because at a certain point, excuses go out the window. Like yes, we've been miseducated, okay, but what did you do to correct that? And then since we're God, since we are the all manifest into flesh, whether you're Christian, whatever you believe in, your book tells you that you're God. So since you're the creator, you can do anything you want. So why haven't you been correcting things? And then even in the Circle 7 Quran, right in the beginning, it says, you know, here all you protoplasts, all you animals, man is the ruler of the earth. And man means to think, so.
This thing has been out of focus for so long.
Well, this just for the people. This is all open discussion. Class hasn't started yet officially. But I just wanted to go into that because that's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. But as I was reading it, I was like, that it makes sense that your antibodies are killing the antigens.
Yeah.
Like it's foreign to your body. So, and oh yeah, if you're RH negative, we got to inject you so you don't reject your baby. When you're not rejecting your baby, you're rejecting the hybrid gene that's not supposed to be on this planet anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's deep. And it's very powerful. Like she was telling me this, I'm like, do you realize what power you have right now? You realize you're a threat to the whole European.
Yeah, we got the antidote.
That's incredible that's incredible to me. And she was saying it nonchalant, like, yeah, I'm RH negative.
It's like a cold.
It's like
your body's gonna get rid of that cold.
Yeah.
Now imagine what's gonna happen with the crops.
Drelly said they're gonna get bigger.
The same thing.
When the Europeans leave.
The same thing. It's gonna kill out that hybrid.
Yeah, all their genetic GMOs and stuff like that.
When I traveled to Grenada, they were the U.S. government. They give out those seeds. They make the farmers buy these seeds because they're hypoallergenic hybrid. And if they don't plant from these seeds, then they don't allow them to service the supermarkets or the masses. Which
is a violation of international law.
Yeah. So they were talking about it in Grenada because I met a farmer and it was crazy. He was like, they were trying to put them on the same plan. Yeah. Grenada was conquered by England. I believe they have English money.
Pound in it.
Yeah, and they also, the war of Grenada, when all the U.S. troops went over there and just slaughtered every man, it was like crazy. That was the last generation. Like that was our parents.
Yeah.
So, and it's weird because you go over there and there's no men. There's men, but not many.
Drawley talked about that too. He said there's gonna be so few men that your children's gonna go to the store, come back, say, "Ma, I seen a man." Wanna know why? Because guess who's your protector? Guess who's gonna be in the front lines once you wake up? Because once you wake up, your son's gonna wake up and you're gonna put the crown on his head. Even though when we're born we're crowned, but I use that as like the feds. You know what I mean? We're gonna, because like all these gangbangers and shit like that, that's mismanaged energy. Once the generals step up, once the real men step up and say, "Hey, get hip to this more science," boom, 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 boom. This is what you fight for. You don't fight because someone stepped on your shoes. You fight because Europeans are literally injecting our people with RH positive stuff so that they survive. You fight because they're genetically modifying nature so that your gland is calcified, so you don't know how to think, so you don't know who your enemy is.
Yeah.
And then you just go around, kill the cracker. What are you talking about? Kill crackers. You eat crackers.
And it's funny when you think of like the original colonization, they used to be like huge families, huge European families, and now it's like you're lucky if you get one or two.
Yeah.
They struggle, like a lot of co-workers and friends and people that I've come across life, those Europeans, they have trouble having kids. Yeah. Or their kids are coming out with so many defects, like all this mental instability and irregulations, and it's just crazy because I'm just like, when you look at the bigger picture of the massive things, it's like, what is going on with their genes? Like it's flipping out.
No, everything returns back to its original form.
Yeah.
And it's
insane.
And that's what's interesting about evolution. Evolution thinks, like people think we came from monkeys. No. When you evolve, like I used to be a littler me, a smaller person me. I evolved into this full body being. That's evolution. Not I came from a lizard and then now I'm a human.
Yeah. That doesn't even make sense because we would have reptilian.
Yeah. But all that's like pseudoscience to get our people off the track. Like, you really think a lizard is running the country right now? You really think he's a lizard man? And then they got like the video of like Justin Bieber and his eyes like turning, like you don't think they edited that?
Well, they have videos of like royal families and stuff, and they're reptiles and all. And I'm just like, are you freaking serious? And like, people rather believe that than this. Yeah,
they rather believe that, even though there's a whole movie about, you know, the man on Mars, like that movie, like the whole CGI everything. So we know this CGI, but you think a lizard is running your country, but you don't think you're a Moor because because they told you you're not?
Even though it's proven, because they were like, oh, the flag was waving and then the flag was stiff.
Yeah.
Like,
and then the camera was on the moon, as an example. The camera was on the moon.
Yeah.
But it recorded the first man on the moon. How? Was it a drone? Like, how?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then we can go even deeper into that, and then I don't want to talk too much because people get lost and then they
whatever.
Anyway, like it's
the point is,
interesting.
Really think about what you're believing and following.
Yeah, and it's like Drawley said, the closest place to find Allah is in your heart, and then the common law is based on common sense. So if something doesn't sound right, like I'm not gonna say, hold on, how do I say this? I'm not gonna say like, oh yeah, this is a book. Clearly, if you look at it, it's not a book.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, there's certain things you could look at. And then us being God, us having the logos, the reasoning mind, we can figure out like, that's not right. You know what I mean? And that's within everyone. So ignorance is no excuse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but our people make that excuse. And it's truth that they're deprived of knowledge. But still, you know what I mean? Like, there's a certain point where excuses don't, like you can't use those anymore.
Yeah.
Which sucks, but that's nature.
Yeah.
So the situation that our people are in is interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Very,
Yeah, it is.
very interesting. Like it's frustratingly interesting.
It's yeah. It's like nothing.
And it boils down to laziness.
Oh yeah.
Like as an example, me and my friend, we were at my house, and she was helping her sister's boyfriend with the resume.
Mhm.
And then she put on Snapchat that we were watching TV and doing his resume.
Mhm.
So he texted her boyfriend and said some crap, and then, but he was talking crap about her being at my house, and making it seem like we were doing something, but she's doing your resume,
Mhm.
and you're gonna talk crap about her, like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? And you're just lazy because you don't want to do your own resume, and we're helping you because we're using our brain, and you're gonna talk crap
so
about
funny
this
though?
person?
You have 2 other people working on your resume.
Yeah, and you're not doing it.
You wouldn't be in any type of position to be talking crap if you were there.
Yeah, doing your resume.
There would be no suspicion about what isn't going on.
And it's on Snapchat. Like
you should be right fucking there. Why aren't
you should be doing your resume.
Yeah, and taking 2 other people's assistance if needed.
Yeah.
But you obviously this is something you need to learn how to do.
There should be no assistance needed because we went to the same high school. In order to graduate that high school, you had to put together your own portfolio.
Yep.
So you know how to do a resume. You're just lazy.
Mhm.
And then you're gonna talk crap about the people doing the work.
Yep. Yep.
That doesn't make sense.
Mhm. Ain't that what our people be doing?
Yes. It doesn't make sense.
I'm sorry, not our people though.
Well, no, but they are our people still. Regardless of status, they're still our people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's also in the Quran. Drelly made it a point to put that in there. Don't forget the glue that binds us as a nation. They're still our people. They're just.
It's so frustrating.
It is.
I have so many people in my life that they don't want me to teach them anything, like how to do resumes. I had somebody last year ask me how to write a paragraph.
You have to do that in school.
He did not know how to write a paragraph. I was just like I thought we all learned this.
Yeah.
Where were you? You didn't pay attention?
Yeah.
And I literally told him, I was like, however you're going to formulate a thought, if you want to get a point across to somebody, what's your point and how do you support that point?
Yeah.
I
feel like that's simple though.
Yeah. And then close it up.
Yeah.
I was just like...
Put it in a box and make it so whatever information you put in that box, they can't get out of that box.
He was just like, that doesn't make sense. And I was like, you have to make a statement, have an ending, and then give 3 or 4 supporting, 3 to 5 supporting things for that statement that you made, and then do your and conclusion. That is that easy. And he was like, I still don't get it. And I'm like, just write how you talk.
Yeah.
Literally, whatever you...
Well, actually, that's pretty difficult.
I was like, tell me. I was like, just tell me. Tell me what you want to say.
It's like you're having a conversation.
And then write it down.
Yeah.
Oh my, and he still.
And that's what I don't get. Because I went to the same indoctrination high school as other people.
Mm-hmm.
How come I can get... And I went to Marine Corps boot camp, so even more brainwashing.
Mm-hmm.
How come I can get this? Well, I chose to get it.
Yeah, it's simple.
Yeah, that's...
Simple.
Yeah.
So if you don't get it, it's like you're fighting it.
You can't break it down any simpler than that.
You're fighting having to use your brain.
Yeah, which I don't get. I don't understand that because that's literally all we have. You know what I mean? Like if you look up the definition of man on etymononline.com, it'll say to think.
A lot of people don't understand that all you have is your skills in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
And even more so than your skills, your brain, because you can learn more skills.
Yeah. Your brain is everything. Man is mind.
And people are so materialistic. Yeah. It's like if you were to lose everything, if say everything was in a fire or something, what would you have? You have your mind.
Yeah. You gotta figure your way out of it. And that's what also one other things I loved about. Damn, I almost stuttered. I loved about the Circle 7 because it was talking about when Yeshua, Jesus, was with the so-called the people, bad people, and he was saying to the people who were trying to put this veil about how they were so perfect and stuff like that. These people had to figure out more hardships than you. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then it was talking about how if it was based on it was using the stalks and getting rid of the bent ones, and then all of them were just gone. Because if it was based on what's perfect, there is no perfect. And I learned that from farming too. The farmer I was working for, she said, you choose all the big ones and get rid of the little ones. And as I was picking the big ones, the standard got lower because as I took the taller ones, the not so taller ones became the taller ones compared to the short ones. You get what I'm saying? So if I just got rid of all the short ones, all of them would have been gone.
Yeah.
So I had to use my mind to just choose. You know what I'm saying? And Allah's not going to do that. Allah's just everyone's equal.
Yeah.
And that was like the lesson behind it. And I was like, that's fucking beautiful. You know what I mean? Like just because you have knowledge don't mean you're fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Like these priests with the suits, they think that they're God's chosen people. Everyone's God's chosen people, dummy.
Yeah.
That's why you're here. You're the sperm cell that made it, dummy.
Yeah.
and that's in, I mean, I'm paraphrasing and doing my little spin to the story, but that's in this. You know what I mean? Like, stop trying to put this veil up that you're this good person or chosen or whatever. But our people are our people, period. They're just lost a little bit. And then they even say, I'm from the lost tribe of Israel. So you're acknowledging that you're lost. Okay. Okay. You know you're lost, okay. Can you find yourself, please? Because only you can.
Exactly. It's like, but they'll come running back to you for you to drag them through with you.
And people like I was having a conversation with my friend again, and she was saying how like people would ask her to ask me for legal advice. And then she would tell them, you didn't even read what he gave you the first time. He's not going to help you again. Yeah. Like if you don't show that you're making an effort, I'm not going to help you because I can't waste my time with you because you're wasting my time. Yeah. Like when I was learning this stuff, I really didn't have anyone to ask questions to. I had to figure it out. Like lectures, when you watch a lecture, when you're watching this video, you can only learn so much. You have to do other stuff to figure out what I'm really saying. You know what I'm saying? So you have to buy books. You have to put in the work. You can't just, hey Jamal, can you figure this out for me? Like I can't think for you. I can only think for myself. Yeah. I can give you advice, but that's literally all I can do. You know what I mean? And if I do it for you, then you ain't learning, and then the paperwork's gonna fail because it doesn't have your energy on it. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like people think like this law stuff is just gonna work just because it's on paper. Like, no. No, we're dealing with criminals. Yeah. So what happens if somebody gets mad because they can't use their words and just rips up your paper? And then you can't call me. Like when the police kidnapped me, I couldn't call like Taj and ask him for help. I had to use what I learned. You know what I mean? Just like the people around me, you can't call Jamal when you're in the jam. Yeah. Because you didn't study. Like when they took me, they took my phone. I don't remember anyone's number anymore. I don't have to do that anymore. I have a cell phone. So I couldn't call nobody. You know what I mean? It's like you really have to study. Like if you don't know, contracts have to be mutual, and they can't be made under threat, duress, and coercion. And if it is made, it's unenforceable. If you don't know how to put that down, then that's on you, not me. Yeah. It's insane. Oh damn! I was gonna bring this paper because one of the things our people need to learn how to do is live within contracts. And one of the because as I started learning stuff, I already got a car, or what I thought was buying a car. But I was in a contract, and my friend came over. We was talking about insurance and how she would be saving way more money, like 260 notes a month, if she didn't have to have insurance. I said, read your contract, because most of the time you don't have to have insurance. So here's an example of the contract that I got into with my car. It says insurance on your you must have insurance on your vehicle, so that was under my promises to them. But then they gave me a way out, except if you brought the vehicle primarily for personal, family, or household purposes, then they are I'm not required to have insurance. And it says it right there, primary use for personal stuff. That's because Article 1, Section 10, it says they won't create any law impairing the obligation of contract, so they can't force you to contract. You see what I'm saying? And also, Article 20, Declaration on Human Rights, everyone has the right to peaceful assembly and association. No one may be compelled to belong to an association. So, since you would have to associate yourself with whatever insurance company, they can't force you to do that. And I actually recorded this video because someone else asked me, a different person asked me about that, so I'll attach it to this video. In the contract that I made with the Europeans to get the vehicle, it said my promise to them was I was going to have insurance on it. But then further down, and this paper is like this fucking long. Further down, it says, except if you have the car for personal or family use. So I turned it around and it said, reason, personal family use. So they can't charge me, I can't be penalized for not having insurance. Not only that, Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution says there will be no like binding thing against contracts, so you can't be forced to contract. And then Article 20 of the Declaration of Human Rights, you can't be forced to association, that's contracts. So they can't force you to have insurance. But if you don't read the contract and they say, oh yeah, we're returning this vehicle, you have to give us it back because you don't have insurance. No, here's my way out. See what I'm saying? So you have to learn how to, you gotta read the contracts that you agree to. Because most of the time, we don't read our contracts.
And you know what's so crazy now? They put this happened to my friend's dad. And so basically the people that he took the loan with to get the car, they require him to have insurance.
Well, that's probably
what he thinks. I'm pretty sure that's what he thinks and hasn't read the full contract. He doesn't even really speak English. Which is how you sign a contract out of here.
And since we're God, ignorance is no excuse. Why are you signing if you know you don't have full disclosure? We keep trusting these criminals.
And so basically what happened was he has insurance. They didn't know he had insurance because they didn't communicate with the insurance company for the paperwork that they needed, and it wasn't a requirement that he had to do. He signed up for both. I got him. When he first filled out the paperwork for the loan, he gave them all the insurance information. They never informed him that they wanted an update of insurance information. They never contacted the insurance company, nothing. So within their time period that they told no one about, he didn't give them further updated insurance information. And they have a kill switch in his car. They turned it off while he was driving.
That's intense.
And so he ended up having to pull over on the side of the road, and it's like he was stuck, and he thought his car was broken. And then come to find out the loan company did it.
And because our people think we're not educated at all. So they think a certificate of title is ownership. No, a certificate is just proof that a title exists.
That's what when we were talking about that the factory.
Manufacturer statement of origin. Our people don't know. I didn't even know that existed until I heard someone else say it, and I was like, I looked into it, I was like, oh, that makes sense. And then we never get it. And then again, Christian black codes, blacks can't own anything. And again, that's status. And then since it's their stuff, they have every right to put the kill switch in their thing and then turn it off because it's not yours. It's wild. Like the situation that we're in is wild.
So I'm just like, it's crazy because he pays all this money for this car. He pays all this insurance.
Well, he thinks he's paying money. You know what I mean? And that's also part of the thing.
And it's like,
he's wasting his energy. That's what he's doing. And like this situation runs so deep. It runs so deep. And we just talk about surface stuff. Tickets and not going to court. That's just surface stuff. Like it goes so deep. Like how do you not get in the surface?
Everything's tied up. It's so sad. And then especially I think about that more and more with the snow. I'm like, everybody's paying all this money to insurance. Say you get stuck in the snow and you're trying to power your car out and you give it too much on accident, or if it slips and you blow your transmission, easily done in the snow. The insurance company won't pay for it because that's considered a conductor's error.
That's your fault.
But
I mean, it is your fault.
It is. Absolutely is. But it just breaks my heart that all this money is paid insurance all year, and then
but you're agreeing to their policy. You know what I mean? It's their policy. So you're dealing with morals and principles and stuff like that. These people are just dealing with contract, whatever you agree to. Whatever you agree to. You can't really get mad at them. Just like when we were having a conversation about what topic I should talk about. You were talking about how they trick our people in the courtroom. They don't trick nobody.
They say
ignorant people are going in, and they're saying, "Do you understand? Can you sign this?" And they're agreeing. It's an agreement. Stop agreeing. I don't
understand.
I mean, they're not going to tell you anyway because they're not going to give you the keys that you need to save yourself. But you already did that.
And it's really sad because the minute you say, I don't understand.
No one's there to help you.
Oh, no. A court-appointed lawyer.
Attorney, which means to turn over. Corpus Juris Secundum, Volume 7.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember the subsection. But attorney is an officer of the court. His obligation is to the court. Or what they're calling court. Not to you. Mm-hmm. His obligation is to the court, then to himself, and then to whoever else, and then you. You're last. You're just giving him what you think is money. He has to keep his job and his
Isn't
career.
it so funny too, all the contracts that we sign in life, car insurance,
and we don't even read them.
Cars. One, we don't read them, and two, if it's a contract, can it be negotiated?
Yeah, all contracts are negotiable. Just like a relationship, right? If you meet a girl and she has missing a quality, she's missing something that you want in that contract, you're not gonna contract with her. You're not gonna be with her.
Oh, you're gonna talk about it. You think
negotiate. Come to an agreement.
Yeah.
And that's one of the rules of the contract. It has to be a mutual agreement. It has to be 2 or more parties. One of those parties can't be a minor. So I can't get into a contract, say, hey,
and a minor,
hey minor, do you agree to pay me $5 for whatever? And then you write a contract. I can't enforce that on a minor. They don't know.
Yeah, they don't understand.
You can't have a commercial agreement with a 3-year-old like he's gonna provide you with service. He's 3.
Which brings us back to the birth certificate. It's like,
yes.
how do you contract me into
Void
this?
ab initio. There was no meeting of the minds.
Yeah.
Not even your mother knew what was going on.
And how you gonna hold me to somebody else's contract?
You can't.
Yeah, it's like my mother signed that. I didn't sign that.
Yeah. And even then, human trafficking is unlawful and illegal.
It was like, I signed that when I took my first breath.
Yeah, right. And then they try to put your thumbprint or your footprint on it, like you agreed. No, get out of here. But that's that bondage, the birth, BERTH, the anchoring, the attaching the debt to the human body.
So funny. In the minute you say, you're in the hospital, baby's born.
Yeah.
No, thank you to the birth certificate.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We shouldn't be going to their hospitals. Natural birth. I think that's dope. I think that's really dope. I like it.
You think it's dope. It's scary to a woman.
I mean, yeah. I guess I'm not a woman, so I wouldn't know, but I think it's the most beautiful thing in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful and.
Like every time I see it on Facebook, I'll share it.
When you have a doula.
Yeah.
So at least somebody that know what they're doing.
Yeah. But like that's our ancient culture. Our grandparents or whoever would always know.
It definitely can be done.
Yeah.
It definitely can be done.
Europeans do it today.
One of my friends, the only thing she had was Tylenol when she gave birth. Actually, 2 of my friends. You know how much Tylenol costs? It's like $700 a pill. Yeah.
What? Tylenol?
And it was Tylenol. Yes.
What?
Woman and infants. Yep. Yeah.
This is why we shouldn't be going to their anything.
Crazy. $700 for the nurse to come bring up a Tylenol.
It's just poison anyway. You could get a natural plant cure headache or whatever. Like there's a plant, I can't remember the name of it. I'm not even gonna talk about it because it's gonna be pointless. I can't remember the name. But I'm gonna talk about it. If you bite it, it like numbs your gums, like your teeth. But if you eat it, you'll like throw up.
Yeah.
But if you just chew on it and spit it out, it'll numb your whole mouth. It's weird. It's a plant though.
Isn't that what dogs do too?
I don't know.
Yeah, when they're sick, they eat grass.
No, it's not grass though. It's like a flower.
Yeah.
And it's like yellow and
no, but
reddish.
I'm saying it's crazy that animals know this.
Yeah, animals know. Yeah, they know what's up.
Yeah.
Just like if you watch an animal, the way they breathe, so it's from their abdomen because they're cycling the whole thing. But if you look at most humans, they breathe up here.
From
That's
the
why they
chest,
have anxiety and stuff like that, and heart problems. Spirituality is breath. Study how you breathe.
Yeah.
Oh, but here's I posted this on my Facebook, but the cartoon is called Gravity Falls, and let me see. Let me just click on it. Oh, of course, it's a small picture. Let me see. 1 second. Oh, this library internet's garbage.
Yeah, it's really slow. Do you want to see the video?
The other video?
Yeah.
Is this still going?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right, let me just show this. So this is from the cartoon Gravity Falls, and look where her foam thing is pointing out right at the Olmec head. Wait, there we go. Right there. It's pointing right at it.
That is insane.
Right? And most of our people, that just goes over their head. Hold on, there's another one. And then also the little boy has a pine tree on his head. The cypress tree, chopped down my father's cherry tree, and then the Bunker Hill flag has it, right? and then the little girl has like the stars, Venus on her thing, and then she's wearing the fez right here. She's wearing the Morris fez. This is a cartoon, and then you can see the tassel right there.
Wow.
Yep. I think it's a little blurry, but they got it. Just look up Gravity Falls. It's a cartoon. Hold on, I'm still gonna show the other ones. Then they got the pyramid with the eye on it. Oh, and then they got the ancient mountain Olmec calendar right there. Right there. It's Venus. Cypress tree. Right?
Wow.
And then they have the hand with the crescent and the star right there. And then there's another one. All right, here's the video I recorded of the cartoon. And they were talking about how they use music for mind control.
In the cartoon?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm not sure if it's gonna play. It stops. But behind him, clear as day, there's the crescent and the star with the sphinx head, the Egyptian sphinx head, and then stars above her head. And then the Shriners do that in reverse to suppress our women. So they don't hide anything. They even put it in children's cartoons. So if our people don't get it by now, come on. You know what I mean? Like they're telling us.
Let me I'm gonna stop this.
So
I'm recording.
yeah, you can. Hold on. You put up flat too. So since it's rolling now. All right. So since she was talking about trust law, now she kept saying, excuse me, I gotta put the colors up, you know. So she kept talking about trust law, right? And she was saying, it's like on the record, she was showing this name right here. Let me just make up a name so we're not using her name. We'll use
John Smith.
Jane Doe,
Oh,
because it was a woman. She kept talking about getting some 7,000 notes, right? That her father placed in a trust for her.
Yeah.
But he set it up in that name, all capital letters. And he registered it to, she didn't say who, but to the U.S. Right? Because since they can only deal with corporations and artificial beings, that's the artificial name. So I was trying to explain to her that your father unknowingly registered your birthright, which was, it's not really money, it's notes,
I'm gonna close
but
this.
your inheritance to the United States Corporation Company.
Yeah.
So she was getting records on how her inheritance was being transferred, but she was trying to claim it under this name.
Yeah.
Now, it's the same thing, that's what I was telling her with the, because I know that's being caught on camera.
Yeah, because the color is.
No, I'm saying the sound is being caught on camera.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I stopped talking. I was telling her with the Dred Scott decision,
Yeah.
it was plaintiff in error. This, and then she brought the birth certificate, and I was trying to tell her that that is not you. That isn't it. So,
Oh, that's better.
she was trying to prove that this was rightfully owed to her human body, because of the name that was on this. What our people need to understand, or really know, is that their human body is not this. So as long as this name is being transferred,
Mm-hmm.
and there's some type of money associated to it,
Mm-hmm.
the human body will never get it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I created my family trust, and it's in my free national name. You see what I'm saying? So any documents that get transferred under this name and not this name, rightfully belongs to me and my family and whoever I transfer it to. So what her father should have did was transfer the inheritance to this person and not register it with them, because it's a family inheritance, so it's a family record.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? The
Yeah.
problem is we keep transferring business and transacting business with them, with their name, and trying to claim the name.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can also look up in the law book, look up a Christian name. And this goes back to the story with Kunta Kinte. And they kept saying, your name is Toby.
Yeah.
That's this. You have an inheritance in Toby. I mean, in Kunta, they're trying to take your inheritance with Toby. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same thing. This would be the Toby, or this would be the Toby, this would be the Kunta.
Mm-hmm.
You transact business in your Kunta name, your free national name. You see what I'm saying? This is how they convert our estate, just like this. So she's trying to do a paper trail, but they created this, so it goes back to them.
Yeah, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Well, that's what I was saying. Any paperwork you bring to is just going to further prove them right. Everything
Yes.
is registered and
With them.
Everything is
Exactly.
kept with them. So you're bringing them back all their documentation. They know.
Yeah.
They know that.
They know it's that name and not yours.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And same thing when someone was asking me, she was about to give birth really soon. And she kept asking me, what's the difference between a birth record and the birth certificate? And I was just trying to explain, when we have babies, when we got other babies,
Mhm.
we record that they were born and we keep it in the family records.
Uh-huh.
What they do is they record that they just created a new corporation,
Mhm.
how they can get money off of it, and they're logging it in their records.
Yeah.
It's just you think you're it.
It's just every time they give a birth certificate, it's a new account.
Yeah.
Stamp it with the baby's fingerprints and their footprints and.
And it's void. This contract is void ab initio. Where can I write this? Right here. Is it on camera?
Yeah.
Right. This is why being in your proper person is so important. Because if you don't know this, if you don't know that you're not this, you're not in your proper person.
Mm-hmm.
Once you realize that you are not this, you're in your proper person. These two names right here. It's a homonym. Homonym. Homo means same. Name means name. So it's the same name. So it's two or more words that are spelled and or pronounced the same but have different meanings. Like this word right here. And this word right here. And this word right here. 3 different words, but there, and there sounds the same. So Jane Doe sounds like Jane Doe. But Jane Doe is not Jane Doe. One's artificial. One's natural. One has a birthright. One doesn't. You see? This is all has everything to do with trust law. You know what I'm saying? You can't say you're claiming land here.
That's not
not a landmass. Regardless is all capital letters or not, it's still not a landmass.
Mm-hmm.
This was incorporated. Therefore, it's not the land because the land has been here millions of years before that. This is also why you have to be in your proper person. Because if you are Aboriginal and Indigenous, you know this ain't the name of the land, or whatever corporate state is claiming to be the land, who just has jurisdiction over the land and the people because they're colonizers. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If you're in your proper person, you're claiming to be Aboriginal and Indigenous. If I say, what's the name of your land, you won't say Rhode Island.
Yeah.
proof that you're not your proper person. You're displaying mental incompetence. You can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that and then claim right.
Mm-hmm.
Plaintiff in error, that's Dred Scott. So, this is kind of a little off subject from what we were talking about earlier. But
we were thrown off subject.
I mean, it wasn't really like thrown off subject. Someone came in and she was asking for some help or for some information. And I gave it to her. And but she was asking some stuff that was relative to this about inheritance and birthright, and I was trying to tell her, you have to nationalize first, and it begins in your mind. Well, yeah, so that's kind of why we got back on this one. But once our people realize that we are not the paper, the paper is a transmitting utility to transfer your inheritance to the United States Corporation Company and their agents, and they're just administrating it. And they got us stuck in this process while they're controlling our land and our people, because it begins in the mind. You know what I'm saying? Now, I wanted to read. Let me just read some of the stuff the prophet said. Right?
Do you want me to pause
Yeah,
so you
keep
can?
it running. It's right here. Now, I want to start off with caveat emptor. I love the caveat emptor.
By everywhere.
Because
it was so true in that whole situation.
who was just in?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because she was talking about trying to sue them, and I'm like, you have to be in your proper person. This isn't a game. You have to be aware of what you're doing. You have
Not
to know
only
the process.
that all the contracts signed.
Yeah, exactly. You're agreeing to all of it. Yeah. All law is contract. So if you have a record that you're agreeing, you can't sue nobody for nothing. If our people are authenticating birth certificates, that's proof that they are agreeing to it.
Yeah.
Like she wants the remedy now, but you have to study first. You can't like the
and
situation.
that's the hardest part, because a lot of people are in situations that feel very urgent.
Yes, that's true.
So don't start when you're in a situation. Start now.
Yeah, start before the situation, because you know the situation's
prepare
coming.
for the situation. Yeah.
All right. So Drew Ali said, I just want to break this first line down first. Moors are men. Right? Independent and fearless, who care for their loved ones and follow the prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain nor unknown. Now, what does this mean?
Moors are men.
Yeah.
What do you mean, flesh and blood?
No, what does this word mean?
Men.
What does that mean?
Men and women.
Well, okay.
You mean
I'll give you the
mankind?
answer.
Like,
No, this actual word, the definition of this word right here.
Oh, I don't know.
It means this.
To think. Mine.
So Moors are thinkers. Upright, independent, and fearless, who care for their loved ones and follow their prophets to a destiny that is not unknown or uncertain. Now, I feel like, well, I don't want to say I feel like, I know some people think that when they say this, they're talking about males. And she was talking about masculine and feminine, and I was trying to explain to her, we all have masculine and feminine energy in us.
Yeah.
The word man doesn't mean masculine. It means to think. And people associate that with masculine because, like, let me kind of speak connotatively. They say men, males, are more of the thinkers, and the females are more of the feelers or more emotional. So that's why they say think like a man when you're really just saying think like a think. Or to think like a person who thinks.
I went on etymology.com.
What does it read?
Oh, let me see if I can get the camera to focus.
Well, let me back it up. So, is it still in?
No, it's focusing.
What does it say?
It says to think.
Yeah. All right. See, I'm all surprised. Like, oh yeah. So.
Well, I mean, yeah. I always go back and look up what you tell me.
Because you're supposed to.
Yeah.
All right. So again. Using etymology is how I figured that out. And I went to
the same thing I just showed.
yeah.
Anyone online?
for people who don't have dictionaries. So right off the rip, caveat emptor means, may the buyer beware. Because when you say you're a Moor, you're supposed to be a thinker, you're supposed to be independent, and you're supposed to be fearless. You're also supposed to take care of your loved ones and follow the prophet to a destiny which is not unknown nor uncertain. We already know the destiny is taking care of our own land, taking care of our people, not needing to get Social Security or go to Section 8 to have housing, because rights of indigenous people says we have the right to our land resources back. State's supposed to take effective measures and where appropriate special measures in making sure we have homes. That's what you got to think. You got to use your brain, right? They are fortified by the imperial doctrine built upon love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It is therefore folly at its greatest height for smelly culprits with their insidious plans to invade such a realm. They try, but their own bad planning brings down wrath upon their heads like the sold old Democulus had. Well, someone commented on my YouTube that I'm saying that name wrong, but I don't care. I said it wrong on purpose. Intrigue and scurrilous cunning find a difficult path to travel within the ranks of Moors. So, you people who are bad at planning. This is so because the Moorish movement has been well planned by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, whose latent powers are abundant, unknown, and may be called into action as a matter of defense at any moment. Prophet Noble Drew Ali knows the people within his ranks who are interested. They are the vanguard of the movement, as the Moors. They are the vanguard of the Moorish movement, as the Moorish hordes increase here in America. All of the Moors are active, not passive. A member's interest can only be in one direction, and having traveled over the roads years before, the Prophet knows where every member is along the road. A few feet below is another road where schemers work, where traitors grin, and culprits bask in the sun. They think they are on the same road with true Moors, but the Moors are high above on a pinnacle where they might view the destructionists as they fall for the last time and their bones bleach in the sultry midday sun. This just reminds me of just people trying to use other people, just for whatever reason. Like, your day is going to come to an end. You can't act like, you can't talk about, walk around saying you're a doctor, and then you can't teach nobody nothing. The word doctor means teacher. You can't walk around saying you're the best Subway sandwich maker ever, and then I ask you to make me a sandwich, and you're like, call so-and-so for that. Oh, because he really or she really had the sandwich making ability. You didn't. Hungry scavengers flying high catch scent, devour and leave crying out, caveat emptor, cast out the dead carcass. The Moors high above cedar purveyors, the worst that exist, hurl themselves downward by their own works as the hawks await. This is to be proclaimed at every meeting. Islam, this is from the Prophet. I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. That's powerful right there. The truth and the divine truth. Ooh. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claimed that I was a joke and unreal. Now the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, said there is a host of jealousy about him within the movement by people on our side. And people try to say temples were infiltrated. So if there's jealousy, that means someone wants what you have. Jealousy. But then, and this is the Prophet saying this. So the Prophet already said, yeah, there's infiltration. That claimed that I was merely a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they're working every scheme they can to disqualify me, so that they may take charge of the situation. Now, he says, this is the only sole foundation that the Asiatics must depend upon for our salvation here as American citizens. And then they push it out to go authenticate the birth certificate. Go do the UCC financial whatever. When the salvation is claiming your land. Why are you claiming something that someone else created, which is UCC's, which Europeans created, and the birth certificate, which is what the Europeans created? Why are you going after that? How about you do what the Bible says, is render unto Caesar's what is Caesar's,
You know, to God's what is God's. You have a birthright. You see what I'm saying? That's kind of, that's what, me reading that's what that reminded me of. You know what I mean? Other stuff too, like the so-called Indians claiming that you need a tribal ID number, yet human beings aren't subject to commerce.
Yeah.
And then the Indians try to say, oh yeah, this is the salvation, you know what I mean? Playing our people for fools.
Yeah.
Caveat emptor, you have to think. Like, when I had to write some indigenous people in my hand, I didn't know more stuff. I read that you have to be, the tribe has to recognize you. I'm like, wait a minute. If I know I'm indigenous, what you mean you have to recognize me? I know, fool. I know, you ain't telling me nothing. You see what I'm saying? Think, Moors. That's why Joel said, if I get you to think again, you free yourself.
Yeah.
All right. What else we got here? Where was I? I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds, the ones that pay their divine respect to me in the movement, will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. Now, I would like to freely speak on what I personally think a faithful Moor is. I think a faithful Moor is someone who participates in the upliftment of their people. Like, we don't have a temple, but we're still spreading the word. And now we have someone on the streets who's seen one of my videos come here and ask me stuff about a birthright. That's helping in the movement. You don't have, like, I wouldn't necessarily say you have to go to a temple and pay them. Because clearly there's a breach and they're not doing all they're supposed to do.
Well, so the nation doesn't depend on buildings. It depends on people.
Yeah, on people, exactly. Human beings. Yeah. The building is just a place where you can meet up at.
Yeah.
This is just, you can meet up, you don't got to meet at the building.
The building is interchangeable.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a vehicle.
Yeah. Yep. So when I say we need a temple here, we need the temple here. We need minds here.
Yeah.
So we can collectively speak on the situation of our people. So that was my little spiel. Who cares about what Mo has to say? Prophet Noble Drali said, I need finance and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy. Because of my fame and nobility, the nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. Now, that is very interesting. Because when I first started learning this stuff, I went to the group on Facebook is called Moral Law, MOORLAW. And there's people in there who put their pictures on like pamphlets and stuff like that. I'm like, wait a minute. The prophet said he's supposed to be the head. And then there's also like, it's sick. Like they'll have like them in like some comedic background type thing. And then they'll have like the person who made them. This is where you get made men from. Because they're not really themselves. Someone made them that. You get what I'm saying? So they had like their whatever next to them, and then it'll be them like, yeah, I'm taking his spot. Like, okay, you're a sellout. He was a sellout. That means you're a sellout. You know what I'm saying? Clearly put the prophet up there, not you.
Yeah.
He's the one who brought us everything. Jamal didn't just start, oh yeah, you know, you need to look up etymology. You know, I learned that from someone. Prophet brought us everything. Stop trying to take charge, dummies. It has been proven by my works which I have performed in the past few years, Prophet Noble Drali. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam, this is the instruction from your prophet, Noble Drali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and His judgment is on now. This was 1913, 1929. Allah's judging us, been judging us. Let me see what these Moors do after I send them a prophet. And we got people that sold our own people out. That's, I mean, I'm not judging nothing. Only Allah can do that. But to me, I see what I see, and that's crazy. All right, Allah's the judge. I'm just observing what's going on. And our people, we really need to step up. But the weak can comprehend it not. And this, all right. So add on to what Prophet said. I would like to add on. Because in this same Moor group, people are arguing about who's teaching law, who's right, who's wrong. Meanwhile, there's women who are losing their homes. DCYF is stealing their children. We're still facing the same genocidal things that these Europeans have been doing to us for years, and you're arguing about which law works and which law doesn't. You got to be kidding me. There's women, our God, suffering, and you're claiming to be men, and you're saying other men aren't doing what men should be doing. How about you just do it? It's whatever, right?
It's like, well,
Just know Allah's watching everything we do. But the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near. So says Allah to His divine prophet, I, Noble Ali. And that's why many hearts have turned to stone. And many have eyes to see, but cannot see. Ears to hear, but cannot hear. Least they would be confounded of their sins. Confounded means confronted by, right? Am I right? Because I'm like 90% sure, but...
Let me check.
Yeah. See, always admit when you don't know something. That's how you fix stuff. I'm serious. That's how you... Like, when I started learning this law stuff, I admitted, oh shit, I don't know shit about law. And let me just add on to that, because I was having a conversation with a different person, and she was telling me that a cop was telling her that I need to realize that laws change. Yet, according to the Constitution, it states that, as an example, we have the right to free speech. That has never changed. Laws don't change. Now, what is you got the correct spelling? Confounded. Confounded. That means confronted by, right?
As an intentions, hold on, that gives me a bunch of
let me look at my
things.
phone. Are you on etymology online?
Yeah.
Let me look it up. If you don't know,
Damned.
Damned?
Damned. Overthrow utterly.
So they'll be confronted by it. They'll be thrown over by it, right?
Yeah.
Damned, confounded, confound. Confound is make, unleash, abash, crush. They'll be crushed by their sins. Literally, to pour together, to mix, to mingle. From calm, together, plus fonder, to pour. So they will be confronted with their sins. They'll be crushed by their own sins, their own dirty works.
Yeah.
So let me continue.
Made uneasy.
Yeah. So they will be confronted by it.
Yeah.
So I was connotatively correct. Still correct though. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors. This was 1913, 1925. Those were trying hours. So what is it now? And every evil spirit is moving. And they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation. What does that mean? The mind is the true foundation. The mind is the pillar that's holding this movement up. Well, that's my analysis of what that is. It's our minds. That's the true foundation. So we're the foundation, we're holding it up. So again, these are trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving. And they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. This is why Moors are saying, he's not teaching Drew Ali more science, even though Noble Drew Ali never said it's his more science. He's not doing it. But Drew Ali said only the Supreme Grand Council has the authority to say who's out of order and who's not. So are you saying that you're the Supreme Grand Council? Can I see your paperwork? You see? But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you see or hear, but you will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your profit. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good deeds. Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace. Your divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I love Drew Ali. He was like, this is what it is, this is what it's not. If it ain't this, if it's this, don't mess with it. If it's this, you're good. Yeah. And he had it all, like, he's dope. He probably had a dope ass swag walk. You know what I mean? Like, Drew Ali. All right. And I'm not ridiculing him. I'm showing. This is how I show love. I like to joke around. Prophet warns all Muslims to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. So no saying kill the cracker. Don't say that. We are for peace and not destruction. Why? Because Quran teaches us all living things are bound together by every other living thing. So if I hurt you, I hurt me. This is why it also says when man honors man, he honors Allah, because Allah is in all of us. So if I punch God, then since I'm a God too, I'm going to feel that. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. Now that's interesting because when she came in here, I was trying to explain to her the nationality card doesn't make you you. You make you you. The card is just proof.
Yeah.
That you are who you say you are. It's
everybody
ID.
else what to call you.
Yeah.
Telling everybody what to call you.
And this is the way I said it to her. Now, license means permission, right?
It's on.
Oh, it's on? Technical difficulties. So again, Drew Ali said, the ID is for our salvation. And she was saying, oh, so I can just get my nationality card because that's me, and then I can still present the policy enforcers with this. And I'm like, yeah, you have every right to do that. Because we're operating on different playing fields. They require us to have this by threat, duress, and coercion. So if you're forced to make that contract, then make that contract. You see what I'm saying? You don't have to flash it to him. Well, in my situation, I flash it to him because that's all I travel with. Because I'm standing on my birthright heavy. But I mean, you know, everyone has a different level of fighting, or I shouldn't say fighting, a different level of challenging jurisdiction, I should say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not everyone's going to be able to not travel with this because we are forced to. And that's an absolute fact. You know what I mean? So yeah, again, Drew Ali said it's for your salvation. It's also why Drew Ali said your nationality card is going to change in your pocket, because if you think that makes you you, then you're already wrong.
Yeah.
You know? Where was I? Okay. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. So again, stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feeling towards the temple or the prophet. So again, I was talking to someone on Facebook, they were saying, oh, these temple Moors. Like, what's a temple Moor? What is that? Because this is a temple, and I'm a Moor, so am I a temple Moor? And I was trying to like show them, stop separating yourself from your brother. Just because they think differently doesn't mean they're not your brother.
Yeah.
Stop. Why you're creating more division within something that's already divided. Stop doing that. That's how the Europeans keep winning. Right? I'll read that again. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. Remember, if you're not living by love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, then you're violating the laws. If you have malicious feelings towards anybody, then you're violating the laws already. If you say, I hope that person trips right there, you're violating love. Why would you want that to happen to someone?
Yeah.
You see how small, like, that's a violation. You know what I mean? And you're going to get unjust deeds. You'll probably trip later. You know? All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If you lose confidence in your prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. So if you're not in the temple and you know Prophet Noble Drew Ali is right, then you know his temple is correct. It's just those who are administrating it are not correct. So don't say temple Moors. Name the people who was running the temple who was doing it wrong. Because, as an example, right, in the military, NCO Creed, a part of the creed was, I'm responsible to my commanding officer for the morale, discipline, and efficiency of my Marines. Their performance reflects an image of me. So if the temple, if the people who are on the heads are running around messed up, the leadership's messed up. You see what I'm saying? Drew Ali said, when I come back, the first thing I'm going to do is clean up the temples. You see? So temple Moors, or leaders of these temples, I don't know their names, you might want to get it right before Drew Ali comes back. And he's not going to come back as Drew Ali. He's going to come back as someone else. Like when Prophet Yeshua was on the scene, he came, spread the peace, boom, 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 released the Asiatics from the iron hand or oppression from the pale-skinned nations of Rome in that area, in those times and days. You know, they assassinated him. He came back as who? Prophet Muhammad the Conqueror, ruled with the sword. He cut their heads off. And he wrote them letters. He said, was I right? And he said, yes, Prophet Muhammad, you were right. So Drew Ali's going to come again. He came as Drew Ali. Now he's going to come as Muhammad the Conqueror in a way, and he's going to clean up the temples, cut their heads off, metaphorically, and he's going to say, Moors, was I right? And the Moors are going to be like, yeah, Drew Ali reincarnated, whoever at the time, whoever you are, you were right. You see what I'm saying? Like, our people, when it says in the Quran, time is measured by cycle ages, that means it comes back. That means there's nothing new under the sun. That means our prophet's coming back. Don't believe me at all. Just research. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet in the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace. Noble Drew Ali. Good stuff. For anyone to fall off of this, why? I mean, it had to be a choice. So why choose that?
It's not a tall order either.
Yeah. And like, even if we stop making videos, we're not going to stop talking about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, you don't have to be putting your face out there. Your face ain't out there, but you're providing the camera. You know what I mean?
Or not even that. When I come across other Moors that are asleep, I still give them information. And make myself available.
And you do that a lot, not on camera. Like the stuff that you tell me you do, I'm like, damn. She's in the ground running.
Because I want them to have the option. I desire for them to have the knowledge that I have or that I'm gaining. I wish somebody told me earlier. Yeah,
me too. Me too. That's why when I first started watching lectures and stuff, I was like, where's the temple here? Like, because I was thinking building. But I'm just like, where are the people who care? Like Drew Ali said, if you have race pride and think your situation would be better, I hear a lot of people saying that our situation would be better. How come they haven't found this yet?
Yeah.
So I'm just talking about it so they find it.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So we can find each other.
Yeah. Drew Ali said, where there's unity, there's strength. Stop trying to fight Rome by yourself. Trust me. It ain't working. It ain't happening. I learned that real quick. Well, yep, I definitely need help with this one. Because I'm in areas I'd like to fight anyway. It's like, I'm going to challenge these guys dolo. And that's something I have to learn. Like, I can't do it alone because I'll die.
Yeah.
Like, I'll drain myself. You know what I mean? Like, it's...
And that was a conversation you had earlier with the visitor. Like,
yeah, she has to stop doing it alone. Like,
yeah, you can't put the whole thing and win on
your back.
You.
Yeah, and don't worry about what they're doing. Worry about what you're doing. And then Drew Ali said, if you're with a group of Moors who aren't doing anything, get out from under them and help those who are doing good do more good. So if you see them doing bad stuff over there, like, I'm good. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go over here and do
Let
something.
me go support this instead of fighting against
And support doesn't necessarily mean giving Federal Reserve notes. No. Support would be, oh, I'm gonna go to your class and just talk to you. To me, that's support.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're interested in what this stuff is?
You're demanding this? I'll second that demand.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Vote. Joel Lee said if you do nothing else, just claim your nationality. Mm-hmm. You don't have to. If you just sit, like, let's say we had 30 people, right? Mm-hmm. This is just a hypothetical situation. And we were like, you know what? We're declared Moors. We know our nationality, birthrights. We know this is not Rhode Island. This is Narragansett. We know that we're Moors. We know that tribe means family. We don't necessarily have to say whatever tribe. We have a right to our own family names. Mm-hmm. We comprehend that we weren't bought from Africa. We comprehend trust law. We know in order to receive our inheritance, we must connect back to our ancient foremothers and forefathers. You know, we understand that. We know that this is our flag. This is our land. We know we have imperium, which is the right to command. We say, hey, out of all 30 of us, what do you think about claiming that land for our community? Oh, well, I don't like that area because of this, and this. I think this plot of land is better. Okay, what's the vote? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, we vote this. Okay, Grand Sheik, we think about doing this, whoever Grand Sheik is. Mm-hmm. And then the Grand Sheik's like, oh, yeah, you know what, since I'm a public servant, metaphorically, since the Grand Sheik's a public servant, since y'all voted me to represent y'all, okay, I'll do this stuff, present it, you know, put it on record, tell the European occupiers on our land, hey, we're claiming this land. What's up? Well, not what's up, but this is our claim. Have fun. This is what we're doing. Bye. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. Tell your people that don't mess with us over here. Yeah. This is what we're doing. Stamp it, seal it, whoop, 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 put it on record, on our records. Mm-hmm. Look at the picture with Joel Lee. He had his secretary, file cabinets. Clearly, he had records. Yeah. And then the 1010, what was it? 1010. 595, the Express Trust. He was talking about, you know, when a Moor is born and they have our birth records, mm-hmm. You're transferring that to us. You're not using anything to encroach on any one of our people's rights. So give us our records. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So if you want to, you know, perpetrate a fraud, give us that document so you can't use it against us. Mm-hmm. Like, there's so much power in our people, yet they don't know it, and that's a problem. Yeah. Again, Bible says that my people perish by the day for the lack of knowledge. Once you comprehend that you are home, no one tells you what to do in your house. These Europeans are running. They are running.
There's already a bunch of videos online about how to move out of America, yeah. How to yep. Move into another
they're
nation,
not home.
Another country. Yep. Yeah. Yep. They're probably gonna jump ship and try to go to one of their other European conquered lands. Yeah. See where else they can make a.
Yeah, I was watching one of Cujo's videos from Canaan Land, and he was talking about. I haven't researched this, but he was talking about how since they've corrupted this area so much, what they're calling the United States, Morocco, they're trying to administrate it. They're trying to administrate the United States Corporation Company from Canada. Yep. From Canada. Mm-hmm. The Canadian Corporation Company, not Canaan Land, but yeah, that's wild. Like, yep, they're running around like a chicken with their heads.
Yeah, where do we go now?
Yeah, you can't go anywhere. Yeah. Again, remember I read the Europeans. The Europeans aren't, well, the Albions, the pale skinned people, aren't indigenous anywhere. They're not Aboriginal anywhere. Yeah. So they have no home. Mm-hmm. And that's really what's going on, and our people don't even realize it. Yeah. Like those who don't study, they still think that they're
so Negro. So it's kind of like they're panicking, trying to come up with a backup plan. Yeah. But
it's still a Negro problem.
If you leave here, then you're gonna show the whole world
you're a fraud, and the world already knows they're a fraud. It's just they don't want to admit it. They're literally like children. Oh, the United States is gonna remember who voted against us, and like, come on, babies, stop crying. You know, it literally like. Whether you know what's going on or not, you can tell by how she was speaking that they're brats.
Even when I was watching it, I was like, nobody has any correction for her tone of voice.
But, what's his name? Trump, like, agreed with her. Like, Trump was the one who...
Which is ridiculous. Because I was expecting at least one person on the news, something, to say, really? That's how we represent ourselves now.
Yeah, but you gotta remember the whole bacon and the cheeseburger, America. Like that's
Yeah.
the whole redneck thing. That's it. They think that they have a claim here.
Mm-hmm.
That mindset is literally like a result of their arrogance here, claiming to be Americans, claiming any sovereign anything. They got arrogant, like, oh yeah, these people of the land, they don't even know who they are. Like they walking around slapping us, doing whatever they want. Like they're arrogant. Like that's a result of what's been going on. So, and then the ones who've been benefiting from it, like the upper class people, they're not gonna say nothing.
No.
And then the quote unquote rednecks, like, yeah, we got America, you can't vote against us. Like they're with it too. Their ignorance is deep.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's real deep.
They've been manipulated in the same way.
Everyone's been manipulated. This is why Drew Ali said it's the Moorish Divine and National Movement of the world. It's a humanitarian act. Like Europeans are suffering too, not just Asiatics, but pale skin, modern day Europeans are suffering too.
Honestly, sometimes I feel worse for them. Because I'm just like...
Well, they don't have a home. That's the worst part for them.
Well, they don't have a home. On top of that, you thought you
was American.
I knew I didn't know who I was or where I came from.
Yeah.
Now I found myself.
Yeah.
But to find out that you don't know...
You thought you was American?
Yeah.
You ain't American?
Yes.
But I mean...
I'm happy to be in my situation and not theirs. Because find out, for somebody to, actually, you're not an American.
Yeah, and that hurts them. That hurts them a lot. It's not. I mean, it's kind of funny, but it hurts. Like when you tell them they're not white, they get hurt.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like you took their soul out of them. Like you ain't white.
It's so funny. I shouldn't even be saying this, but I told my boss. I was like, she kept saying, "Yeah, I'm white. I'm white," and I said, "No, you're European.
Yeah.
You're Caucasian."
Yep.
She didn't even know what that meant.
Because you gotta understand, the priesthood has put everyone in darkness. Again, the whole thing with the desegregation, that ruined a lot of stuff for them. Because they were like, damn, now we gotta dumb down our own people.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's that's a result.
Yeah.
You make a deal with the devil.
I was just like, I could not believe a woman that her position is higher than mine. She's older than me. She's old enough to be my mother.
Yep.
And she didn't know what Caucasian was, and she didn't know that she was European.
She thought she was American.
And she's the same color as that whiteboard.
Pale. She's black. And this is also the other side to when Drew Ali said, just because you're born here don't make you a citizen. He's talking about blacks and so-called whites. Because our people, Moors, think that they was shipped over here from Africa, even though this is Africa. They think that they're obligated to be a citizen.
Yeah.
Well, in order to be a citizen of any free national government, you have to say who you are. You ain't black. Same thing with the pale-skinned Europeans. You're not American because you was born here. If a Chinese person is born in Mexico, that don't make them Chinese. I mean, that don't make them Mexican. That makes them Chinese still, regardless of where they was born. Yeah. So these Europeans think just because they pilgrimaged over here that, oh, my ancestors were here, that makes me American. You ain't American.
And it's crazy because if you take Asia, for example, it doesn't matter how many generations. If me or you go down there, it doesn't matter how many generations we've been there, how good we speak the language and cook the food and wear the clothes.
Dress like them and dance like them.
We are still
Moors.
Not.
We're still Moors. Yeah.
We're still not from that land.
Yes. And
so why does that concept change over here?
Because European conquest, European indoctrination. Frederick T. Gates, John D. Rockefeller, 1902, General Education Board, we shall not make any of these people or any of their children to men of learning, men of letters, philosophers, lawyers, doctors, preachers, politicians, nothing. Because they win like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, I know you know, but...
No, I know.
Yeah, I'm doing this for the camera.
And it's great because this is the first step to decolonization is for everybody to find out the information.
And then Noble Drew Ali said, if the Europeans are helping me, why not you? And then the Special Committee of 24 of Decolonization. Once we step up, everything just speeds up for us.
That doesn't exist for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And it specifically, in the inter-American definition of what an indigenous person is, it specifically says those people who embody historical continuity with their lands before European conquest. Europeans came over here.
Yeah.
So who was the foreigners? Who were the immigrants?
Yeah.
Who's going home? Well, they have to find a home. Because they ain't got one.
Or at least abide by the laws of
the treaties,
yeah.
the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, and the Constitution, which they've been violating since at least 1861.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, and it's talked about right here. You want to adjust the camera? The Pope talks about it, right? The Pope, who owns the United States Corporation Company, right? The Pope said in his general civil orders, and this is when Obama was the El Presidente of the United States Corporation Company. General Civil Orders, June. I have 2 civil orders because he issued 2 of them. Let me just make sure. Okay, this is his letter to Obama. Yep. All right. So this is from the Pope. General Civil Orders, June 10th, 2014, issued to all members of the domestic police forces, U.S. Marshal Service, the Provost Marshal, members of the American Bar Association, members of the American Bar Association, those are attorneys, and American Armed Services. So those for my fellow people who I served the United States Marine Corps with, who are still in, this is what you need to know. Another problem with our people is the miseducation of us from John D. Rockefeller, Frederick T. Gates, and their whole school system. When I joined the Marines, I took an oath to the Constitution, never even read it. How can I support and defend it if I haven't even read it?
That's the same
thing with the so-called police.
enforcers.
Exactly. They don't read it. That's a problem. And I'm saying that as a veteran.
And they don't require them to know it.
Because the whole thing is predicated on our ignorance.
And the minute you ask them, oh, you took an oath to the Constitution? What?
What's that? Right?
Of course I did.
Yeah. And then again, with the video with the highwayman arresting me, I said, "Are you a public servant?" He said, "No." Already, that should tell you something.
Yeah.
All right.
Jamal, how old are you?
Is that relative to any of this?
Yes, it is relative.
How so?
Because at this point here, you have an unregistered motor vehicle.
Okay.
We don't know if you have a license. You said you don't.
I don't.
Correct?
I'm telling you I don't.
Okay. So Jamal, here's the situation. This is all well and good. You can continue this on after.
Continue what?
You have an unregistered motor vehicle.
I can continue what?
You can continue all this being
all
difficult
of
with us
what?
as much as you'd like to.
Okay.
Okay. And I get it, and that's fine, sir. It's not the first time we've come across where someone wants to be difficult and refuses.
I'm not being difficult at all.
You are being difficult.
I'm really not.
What's your date of birth?
You don't need to know that. That's personal
Wait, you need
information.
your
That's
birth.
personal information.
Sir, it's required.
Is
on
it
the
not
traffic
personal
stop.
information?
No, it's not.
When's your date of birth?
I don't have to give that to you.
Oh, aren't you a public servant?
No, I'm not.
Oh, so
No, sir,
so
here's the
you're a
situation.
private person.
Sir, here's the situation.
Oh, so you're not
You
so
can
you're not
continue
government.
to be
Okay.
difficult with us, that's fine.
So he just
You can
told me he's
videotape
not
as much as
he's
you'd
not
like
a
to, that's fine, sir. All we're asking you for is cooperation. To
I am
identify yourself,
cooperating. I
so we
did.
can see who you are. and
You can
be on
see
your
you
way.
can you not see me?
Okay.
Okay. Those are for my police friends because I know some people.
That's why they got them out there like that, so they
Miseducated.
can,
Yeah.
be ignorant enough to be so foolish.
Yep. And that's part of the problem. Again, with the Matrix, the movie The Matrix with Morpheus and Neo, and I don't know their real names, but he said Morpheus was telling Neo, some of these people in the Matrix don't even know they're in the Matrix. So again, this ignorance with a good heart, those people, because I wanted to be a police officer when I was younger. I was in like a junior police academy. I was like, I want to help people. I want to help the people, my situation my people are in. I have a good heart. I feel like I would help. The problem is, we have good hearts, but we're ignorant. So the cop who knows me and knows my friends is able to say, oh, Jamal needs to know that laws changed, but you haven't even read the Constitution. And you're only required to, study for 6 months?
Yeah,
Study law? I do this religiously. You know what I'm saying? So you might want to read the Constitution before you have an opinion about it. You know? But this is what, again, Civil Orders, June 10th, 2014, when Obama was president. At the federal level, the American government has always been a separate, foreign, international, maritime jurisdiction operated under contract to provide 2 services. One, I'm sorry, I know I'm shaking the camera.
Yeah.
One, protect the national trust assets and perform governmental services for the several states, which in terms of international law are all recognized as sovereign nations. The equity contract known as the Constitution for the United States of America, makes it clear that the several states contracted to form a single government services agency known as the United States, in quotation marks. The contract stipulates the assets to be held in trust by the federal government in the preamble and Bill of Rights, comprising the trust indenture portion of the contract, and also stipulates the 19 enumerated services to be performed and exactly what powers the states agreed to delegate to the United States and how they would pay for those services. So the Constitution is a trust. Remember, didn't Drew Ali say they placed their trust in names formed by your forefathers?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. That means Drew Ali taught civics, huh? These are general civil orders.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. What isn't widely known or appreciated is that the governmental service company known as the United States was a privately owned and operated commercial company set up by Benjamin Franklin in 1754. Now again, Title 28, Chapter 6, Subchapter 176, Subsection 3002. Number 15A, the United States is a corporation. George Washington was actually the 11th president, in quotation marks, of this company, and the only first president to take office after receipt of the Constitution contract. Constitution is a contract, that's why I all take oaths to it. Ooh, Pope is revealing the secrets. They don't want you to know this. What? In school I was taught George Washington was the first president. No, the 11th. How come they don't teach that? Because then you would connect you back to your Moorish history.
Yeah.
Oh. And then you would
Just
know.
like they teach the Constitution of America instead of
of the
for.
United States, not America, of the United States.
Sorry.
And they call it the U.S. Constitution. They're telling you in your face.
Yeah.
Not the American Constitution, the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah. I didn't find out that there was two
Until later.
Like college.
Years later.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But me, I got out of high school, didn't know the difference, joined the military. That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
A big problem. Because I was ready to die for some people that wasn't even in the interest of our people.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem. Huge problem.
Or any people.
Yeah, themselves.
Yeah.
All right. According to the 1824 Webster Dictionary, the word federal was a synonym for contract. So federal government is contract government. Or the United States is a federal corporation, that means contract corporation. It means you don't have to contract with it. At the time the original Constitution was written, all constitutions are affirmations of debt, meaning an obligation. In this case, the debt the states assumed when they created the federal government and jointly agreed to pay for the services that it would provide. The office of president is and always has been a uniquely commercial office, not a head of state. Now, if you read my book, I talk about how during the during the Confederation, the president just dealt with paperwork. Mm-hmm. If you do history, that's what you'll find to be true. It's a commercial office. Excuse me. So again, the office of president is and always has been a uniquely commercial office, not a head of state. Not a head of state, meaning he's not the president of a country. A state is a collection of people bound together by common law interest. So the people are the state. So he's not the head of that. Mm-hmm. He's the head of the United States Corporation Company doing business at Morocco. Mm-hmm. That's what he's the president of. This is why they say a black man won't be president of the United States, because that's European owned. Mm-hmm. You know, black means pale, but they're talking about our people when they say that. Also, black people aren't in their proper person, so you can't run anything if you don't even know who you are. Yeah. How can you have an opinion about anything if you don't know who you are? Mm-hmm. Right? What you mean God don't know who God is? You got an opinion about something? Because the federal governmental service company is privately owned and operated. Only shareholders, known as electors, and this is in quotations, have a real say in the elections and administration. Only trustees, known as members of Congress, this is in quotations, have the right to determine how the National Trust assets are protected, though they are obligated as trustees to do a reasonable job of it. And only the states have the right to complain if the stipulated services aren't up to par.
So we don't even have a right to complain according to this
because
system.
that's like saying we have the right to complain about what the CEO of Walmart does.
Mm-hmm.
We don't own Walmart and we're not shareholders of Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
We're not U.S. citizens. So again, with this woman, she came in here trying to claim a birthright.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go to them and claim anything.
So that's further
Yeah.
establishes that this is United States is a democracy,
Yeah, and it's a privately owned company.
not a republic.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep. And Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution
this
says
is-
we're guaranteed a republic, not a democracy.
And then we have these Europeans walking around America,
And
free.
and we have so-called Moors, declared Moors, talking about we're citizens of the United States Corporation Company.
Mm.
And we got so-called blacks talking about this is a democracy. And we got so-called Indians saying that Aboriginal Indians taught them democracy. No. Don't lie to your people. Or you do whatever you want, but you know Allah's gonna pay you for your unjust deeds.
Mm-hmm.
So, proof. Pope is saying it. And everyone says the Illuminati owns everything and they're slaves to the Pope. So people know, they know in a connotative, spooky kind of way what's up. But the Pope is telling you straight up.
Yeah.
He owns it. He's telling you. See what I'm saying?
You know, it's so funny that everything the Pope says, all these religious people
Mm-hmm.
pay so much attention. This letter just floated on by. Yeah. It's a whistle in the wind.
Only faithful Mormons are talking about this stuff. All right. The American people at large, known simply as inhabitants. Inhabitants just means you have bodily presence. That don't mean this is your domicile, meaning your fixed and permanent home.
Mm-hmm.
You just have bodily presence here. Just like the Europeans, this ain't their domicile, this ain't Europe.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't New England. They just have bodily presence here. That's de facto.
Mm-hmm.
They exist in reality, but not de jure, not according to law.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't your land. Divinely, this ain't your land, right? So inhabitants of the domestic states, in quotations, state citizens, in quotations, have always been a separate and distinct population apart from U.S. citizens or federal citizens. And to these two groups, a third kind of citizen was added in 1871, that of U.S. small c citizen. Now that's the 14th Amendment trying to make us citizens of the United States Corporation Company.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? Following the Civil War, remember 1861, they overthrew the government, coup d'etat. 1862, Civil War. Why? Because they were overthrowing the government.
Mm-hmm.
The governmental services company providing the services agreed to by the states reorganized as a corporation doing business as, and published its articles as the Constitution of the capital United States of America. Unlike the Constitution for the United States, small u, of America, which is a debt to them. Remember we were talking about the difference between common law and these, the administrative law?
Mm-hmm.
Or the, what was it? What was that word? Statutes.
Yeah.
Their own regulations.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we created our Rise of the Moors Trust, we wrote down what laws are we going to follow.
Mm-hmm.
That's our private stuff, what we're abiding by. So that Constitution of is from them, not from what the people put on them.
Mm-hmm.
You see? The Constitution of the United States of America is a document peculiar to the new municipal, that is, city-state government formed to administer the affairs of the District of Columbia and federal territories and possessions. The corporate Constitution provided for the creation of a new kind of federal citizen, a U.S. citizen. And from that point forward, the perspective of the new federal municipal government formed the Act of 1871. That's when they moved the government to D.C.
Mm-hmm.
It was really originally Philadelphia, Shakamoxon. That was our that's where we ruled from. That's where all the chiefs would come and
I was reading that yesterday in the Are You Confused About Your Nationality book. They were saying that I'm not even going to quote it because I don't remember it exactly.
Paraphrasing is good.
It was basically talking about how they moved.
Yeah. See the government?
Yeah. Everything over to
Well, it's really just,
Because
they set up their corporation company there and started administrating it there, and they were acting as government.
Yeah, and that the White House that exists now isn't even the original White House.
No, it's not. Okay. Yep. American state citizens, the inhabitants of the domestic 50 states, were regarded as non-resident aliens. The same corporation doing business as the United States of America Incorporated, chartered in Delaware, began operating two separate governments at once. The municipal government of the District of Columbia and the federal government owed to the states of the Union, both under the auspices of the United States Congress. So they're just acting as the United States Congress.
Mm-hmm.
This semantic deceit, these semantic deceits. Now, if you watch like certain videos of our people, they all say, "Oh, I don't want to get into semantics," when that's how they fool the people. So why don't you want to get into semantics? Why don't you want to get into what? Why don't you want to pay attention to the United States of, or the Constitution of the United States, instead of the Constitution for the United States of America? There's a difference. They don't want to get into that because they know there's a difference. They want to keep our people dumb. See? So don't believe those people who say, "Oh, he's talking semantics, he's playing a word game." Because there's a game going on with words. So you might want to learn how to decipher them and separate the wheat from the chaff. The connotative linguistics, which is slang, and the denotative linguistics, which is true absolute definition, meaning the etymology. You might want to learn the difference. And the 8 parts of speech. Because the Constitution of and the Constitution and, of and for are different. You know what I mean? Boom, boom, boom. These semantic deceits have given rise to endless confusion. People are confused. Usurpations and criminality. These general civil orders address some of those issues which are most important at this time. This is 2014. It's 2017 now. Well, they say 18.
But they were important.
But if you're going to by March calendar year, it's still 1437. The new year isn't until March 21st, which is spring. Because it's based on nature. How is it the new year in the middle of winter? Anyway, but I digress. Doesn't make sense. Right. The Congress ceased operating as it was required to by contract in 1860. Remember coup d'etat 1861. After December of 1865, they assassinated Abraham Lincoln. It never again operated as an unincorporated body politic representing the states of the Union. Unincorporated body politic. That's what it's supposed to be, not for-profit corporation company. Incorporated. Excuse me. I'm trying to explain as I go and I get off where I was reading. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. The federal government has functioned exclusively as an incorporated commercial entity with an elected board of directors merely calling itself the U.S. Congress ever since. As such, the federal government is a commercial corporation like any other commercial corporation. It has no special status, no immunity from prosecution, and hasn't functioned as a governing body of a sovereign nation for 150 years. Yet these people want to talk about Trump and cutting taxes, thinking that they're government. They haven't been government in 150 years and they know it. But the believers don't know it. The very people going to their high schools and stuff like that don't know it, and graduating their colleges don't know it. Some of them do. But unless you're in a high Masonic order, any type of order, and you're dealing with high degrees of Masonry, and you're either pleasuring your life or your house, you don't notice either. Unless you're getting with some Moors who studied under Noble Drew Ali, and people were doing what they're supposed to do, dispense the information to the people. To overcome this obvious difficulty, the United States Congress formed another union of American states from the federal territories and possessions, the 7 insular states, including the state of New Columbia, District of Columbia, Guam, Puerto Rico, American Samoa, and and others, and formed a new nation simply calling themselves the United States of America, and claimed separate national sovereignty. So they're just acting. They're faking it. They're faking the funk. Literally. For 150 years they've been faking. That's crazy. That's like when you be married for so long and you realize that that's not your son. Oh, right? That's why when you tell these Europeans you ain't white, they're like, whoa, what? Thus, we have the United States of America major, comprised of the now 50 organic states, created by statehood compacts. I know I keep shaking the camera, my bad. And the United States of America minor, representing the 7 insular states, both being administered under the direction of the corporate board of directors known as U.S. Congress, and has continued to act solely as a sovereign government of the United States of America minor. These blatant semantic deceits, again, semantic deceits, by officers of the federal corporation and officials of the United States of America minor, amount to purposeful, constructive fraud against the employers, the American organic states. To try to overcome this obstacle, members of the U.S. Congress contrived a complex regulatory scheme by which they established their own state governments and have tried to claim that they have been at war with the American people while relying upon the organic states for their own sustenance, and have falsely claimed that they established exclusive legislative jurisdiction over the original states of the Union by these acts of self-interested fraud carried out against their employers and benefactors. So you can kind of think about it like this. Let's talk about the whole racism thing that our people keep talking about we're suffering from, but we're really suffering from genocide. A lot of our people are mad because Bush said the reason why the United States is in debt is because the black people keep applying for Section 8 and stuff like that. That's what they just explained. When really we're at war, well, they declare war on us. They're putting us in a subservient position. So unless we proclaim our birthright, which a lot of people don't know that they have a birthright, they keep thinking that they're black, so they're applying for assistance. So they're helping with the so-called debt. So the Europeans who are creating this situation for us to be in are using the situation that they created as an excuse as to why they're in the situation that they're in. When it's all their fault. That's that. As an example.
Yeah, they're like, we want to step out.
Yeah, but we can't because the blacks.
Need us.
Yeah, when what we really need is for y'all to stop miseducating us. Stop willingly accepting, our people being sold, because the birth certificates are fraud. You know what I mean? But again, like you were saying, if the Europeans leave certain areas, the whole economy, which is the people, the minds of the people will collapse.
If it happens too fast, I mean,
it's gonna be a travesty.
Well,
if it happens too fast.
Yeah, if it happens too fast, but you know what? Nothing is impossible. We'll be able to get back up again like we always do.
Yeah, we will. That's why Drew Arley said, "It is Allah alone who guides the direction of the Moorish divine national movement." You know what I mean? But Allah is in all of us, so we have to try. We have to set things up. You know what I mean?